Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Brief Nerdity podcast. My name is Ryan. I'll be your host this week. Joining me once again is my good friend and co-host, Trent.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Tired, but good.
I am also tired. We are recording a bit late at night. It's actually late Friday night. Trent's going to be out when we normally record our podcast, so we're just recording it a little bit early for you all. So you should be very grateful to us.
So if there's any huge news that drops over the weekend or Monday morning, that's why we're not talking about it yet.
So we're going to be talking about old news from last week that doesn't really include E3 stuff.
Right. Stuff that we missed when we were so focused on video games. And also joining us is super special guest, Ben.
Hello, super special guest.
Welcome back, Ben.
Thank you.
How's it going?
I feel good. I'm a super special.
Super special.
Super special.
So we'll be talking a bit of Spider-Man today for different reasons. So we thought for the round robin this week, we would talk about our favorite Spider-Man villain. Who wants to go first?
I will go first.
All right.
I feel like it's kind of boring because he's been done on the movies and done pretty well. But since like the animated cartoon and everything when I was a kid, I've always been a fan of Doc Ock.
Ooh, nice. Good choice.
Yes, I think he's got a cool premise. His powers are cool. Well, quote unquote powers. His aesthetic is creepy. He's super smart, so he's a mental match for Peter Parker, which is always fun. So that's kind of what I like about him.
I don't know if it's how the comic is still going because I'm not up on modern Spider-Man comics, and I actually don't think it is the case. But were you aware that Doc Ock became Spider-Man, I think like 3 or 4 years ago?
I heard about that, and he made some upgrades to the Spidey suit.
Yeah.
And some other things. But yeah, it's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead, Ben? Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain?
My favorite. Oh, sorry. Oh, you guys can hear me, right? Yeah. My favorite Superman or Super Spider-Man villain would be it would have to be Carnage.
Nice.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
Carnage?
Yeah. So the reason being, Carnage is, well, one of the issues that I have with a lot of superhero bad guys is they're kind of downplayed in villainy. Like the Joker is probably one of the closest things in the Batman series that made it actually a bad guy. Like he was just all out crazy. He didn't really have any moral ground, and they showed that extremely well without it being like extremely graphic. And Carnage would turn Spider-Man into like a horror series, which would be amazing. Because if you know anything about his background, first off, it's a tragedy. Carnage's background is horrible. He's basically from what I remember off the top of my head, he's a convict who ends up getting the what is it, symbiosis? Is that what it's called?
Symbiote.
Symbiote. Thank you. And it starts controlling him, and he ends up like murdering his own family due to it. And ends up like giving in to the entity known as Carnage, and basically they run around and just do really awful, terrible things.
One would say that create carnage.
Right?
Uh-huh.
But I think it's like, a lot of the heroes and villains that fight each other, it's, an evil plan to do this or that. And Carnage is just, he's got one goal, and it's just mayhem due to, slaughtering and murder. And it's really dark. And I like that aspect because it's almost unfiltered in the comics. And it would be very interesting to see how they would go about presenting Carnage in like the movies, and yet keep that same feel.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because it'd be very similar to how they originally presented Venom, but on a much darker scale.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully they do it justice in the upcoming movie, but more on that later. I'm going to kind of cheat because my favorite is Venom, but don't really want to spend a whole lot of time just kind of talking out because he's kind of like Trent said, the more cliched answer there. So I'm going to go with one of my favorites that's often underrated, and that's Mysterio. I really like the idea of basically a movie special effects artist becoming a supervillain, so to speak, and using movie special effects to create illusions or basically trick Spider-Man in those ways. It always was, to me at least, very visually appealing and offered very interesting scenarios for which Spider-Man to take on. So,
nice.
Yeah, often overlooked in my opinion. Hasn't been given his time to shine in a movie because we needed Green Goblin twice and Electro and
Yes.
Insert make fun of Trent's joke for loving Amazing Spider-Man 2 here.
But it's still a fun movie. Just because it had some issues, it's still better than Spider-Man 3.
Nah.
Really? Topher Grace's Venom. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, Topher Grace's Venom was terrible. But at least we were invested with the characters as much as we were.
I was invested with Andrew Garfield. And what's her name? Emma Thompson? Is that no?
Stone.
Emma Stone. Thank you. I don't know. What do you think, Ben? Which you like better, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3?
Oh, God. The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes! Vindication!
That's all right.
Those first three Spider-Mans, I just can't.
I love the first one. Love.
Yeah, see, is his opinion valid if he doesn't like any of the first three?
I mean, his opinion's still valid because he agrees with me. So,
but now he's saying that Spider-Man 1 and 2 are also bad. So
I just did not enjoy them. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. Okay, that was a quick judge. The first one I did enjoy to some degree. I was, I guess, more hyped for it than I was actually pleased with the film, but it wasn't terrible. It just all kind of went downhill from there.
So what do you guys think of the new Spider-Man villain in Homecoming, Vulture?
I like that they're going with Vulture. Vulture was the villain in the very first Spider-Man comic. So I think that's a nice nod to it right there. And I love the fact that Michael Keaton is cast as him.
He looks really good.
So,
also, I like that they did a dramatic. I just looked up the wiki page for Vulture. His outfit is much better in the new movie.
Oh yeah, totally.
Than his original costume, I've got to say.
So I've never really been interested in Vulture in any Spider-Man story I've read or seen with them, but I'm pretty sure that they'll do him justice, or at least make him an interesting villain in this new movie.
Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
I actually don't know a whole lot about Vulture's story.
What are your impressions from the trailers and stuff? Have you seen them so far?
Yeah, that looks amazing. Personally, I think it's a pretty badass suit. Like it's awesome.
My only worry is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had its share of problems with villains, and bringing Spider-Man into the Marvel fold could fix that, because Spider-Man has debatably the best villains of the entire Marvel universe.
Oh yeah.
And again, like I said, I'm more happy than not that Vulture's starting. But I can't help but feel that with the wonderful roster of villains that Spider-Man has, and the very, very much needed good villains in the Marvel universe, they could have picked someone a little bit better, but the more memorable ones have already been used in all the movies so far, and I'm sure they want kind of another fresh start and didn't want to bring, Green Goblin back a third time.
Right. I definitely appreciate the fact that they're not rehashing
The Green
enemies. Just like enemies in general. Like
Goblin.
we've already done Doc Ock once, and I actually thought he did a great job. And then the Green Goblin twice, and I even Hobgoblin a little bit. Like it'll be nice having a different character.
I think we got Green Goblin technically 3 times since he was in the third one as James Franco's character is technically Green Goblin, I think.
I thought he was supposed to be the Hobgoblin.
That was my impression, but
no, Hobgoblin's a completely different character.
Oh, okay.
Different person.
Well, I mean, he also, I don't know. It's definitely different than his dad, but he was a goblin of some kind with hoverboard and everything. So
yeah,
wasn't that big of a change.
Yeah, and he was villain for like 10 seconds. So
I think in the comics he becomes Green Goblin, but I remember that. Yeah, the guy's name is Roderick Kingsley is the Hobgoblin.
Oh,
I guess there's like 10 Hobgoblins in here.
Nice.
But
I thought it was really cool. Speaking of Spider-Man villains, they had Wilson Fisk as someone that Peter Parker is talking to during the PlayStation gameplay reveal.
Yeah.
And I did not know that he was initially a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, really? You didn't?
Yeah, and apparently he then moves on to become more well-known as a Daredevil villain.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's done really, I think he's the best part of the Daredevil Marvel show.
Definitely.
But
does a phenomenal job.
Because I saw him pop up in the video, and I was like, well, that's cool how the borrowing villains are moving them around and stuff like that. And I was like, I wonder who had him first. So I went and looked it up, and I was surprised that because he's so well known as like Daredevil's arch enemy. So it made me really want like a Spider-Man Daredevil team up, and then I was sad because it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, they team up a lot in the comics and other Marvel properties outside the films, and that's why they share a lot of villains. And yeah, I first grew to love Kingpin as a villain during the original '90s cartoon. He had a big presence.
Yeah, and I loved their team ups in the cartoon.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh well.
So let's go ahead and just stick to the Spider-Man stuff that we're talking about since we're kind of on the subject. So, it's kind of a good thing that I mentioned Venom and Ben mentioned Carnage because there's some news upcoming.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're exactly right. They did announce that Carnage was going to be the villain for the upcoming Venom movie. So, like you said, Ben, hopefully they take a more darker horror route with that.
And I'm pretty sure they've said that the new Venom movie is going to have kind of a horror bend to it. I mean, if Venom's your good guy and Carnage is your bad guy, then to do it right, it's going to be creepy.
Right. Because Venom's an anti-hero, essentially. He's
right.
A good guy who's accepted an evil power in order to defeat evil.
Well, and the Venom symbiote wants to stop what Carnage is doing, because doesn't it give birth to the Carnage symbiote or something?
It's a weird thing. I think it's like that.
I think it does suffer some kind of separation anxiety.
I know that they're related, obviously, but yeah, and Spider-Man and Venom have teamed up in the past to fight Carnage. So I'm kind of how awesome would it be if they just surprised everyone with Miles Morales or something in there just randomly? I think that'd be cool.
I'm just one of those people that really thinks that need a proper introduction. Not just if I mean, if right now the movie takes place in the Homecoming universe, which at this point we really don't know, but if it does, how is Venom without Spider-Man getting the symbiote suit first, which I don't think is going to happen in Homecoming. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I doubt it. We might see it like on a shelf or something, like as an Easter egg.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, it just doesn't. We just need these relationships created, and then we also. I would like to see a Miles Morales origin story since we don't have that. We've seen Peter Parker's origin story twice, and it's been heavily implied a third time, but nothing for Miles Morales. So just to have him pop up as Spider-Man with no introduction would be, I don't know, a little jarring for me, and especially for audiences that aren't familiar, the fact that there's multiple Spider-Men.
That's true.
Just be like, oh, there's a black Spider-Man. Okay, I don't know.
At least give like a nod to him or something. Like have him be in the background. I don't know.
It just kind of goes with my pet peeve I've mentioned just before. All these studios just trying to create cinematic universes when they haven't earned it yet, so to speak. And Sony explicitly did this last time. Not to go back to Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it seemed like that movie tried to focus more on like, oh, the upcoming Sinister Six movie is coming. Look at all this Sinister Six stuff in our movie. And so, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know that people have as much patience for the same kind of setup that Marvel had. And executives definitely don't have that much patience anymore.
Yeah, they definitely don't, which is why it feels disingenuous to me. Like they're trying to get the same payoff and paycheck that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing without putting in the time and effort.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Mummy reboot, so to speak, but people have said in reviews and just general discussion of the movie that it's one of that movie's weaknesses as well. It's just not a very good movie overall, but at the same time, it tries to like throw so many like winks and nods to their upcoming dark universe that it just distracts you from the experience and pulls you out. Apparently. Allegedly. I haven't seen it yet, but that's what people say. Have been saying.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff bugs me, but go ahead.
No, it's okay. I mean, I actually listened to a spoiler review for The Mummy the other day because I have no intention of watching it anytime soon. And Universal did a really interesting bait and switch, is all I'll say for now in their upcoming movies. And I think it was a bad decision. But yeah, I don't know how much you want to know about The Mummy, if you plan on seeing it or care about spoilers. What do you guys say?
Don't for now. I'll catch it when it comes on video, probably.
I'm unsure about it. Yeah,
I'll watch it when it's out, like on Netflix or something. But
yeah,
I wanted to know what all the fuss was about. So my favorite movie YouTuber had a spoiler cast review, so I was like, might as well.
What all the fuss was, as in like the negativity surrounding it?
That and just like the connections with the upcoming, because I want to see like their next few movies if they continue on with it. So I kind of wanted to get the broad strokes without, because I may not end up seeing it. We'll see, but
makes sense.
Yeah. So, and theoretically, according to an interview, which could have just been nonsense, they said that Venom is apparently going to be in the same universe as Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, I saw that, and then didn't someone else say it wasn't?
Right. Marvel came out with a statement, I don't know if it was right after or just right around the same time, that basically said that Venom is not part of the MCU.
So Sony's like, yes, it is, and Marvel's like, no, it's not.
Well, I figured something like this would happen when you have the two, studios kind of playing over the same space. And Sony would love nothing more for people to think that there's a chance that, like, Peter Parker could show up in Venom, or something else could go down. Because I mean, let's be honest, like Marvel has it right now. That it factor.
Yeah.
And has all the momentum. Sony would die for the kind of progress that Marvel has right now. So they're kind of like, yeah, we're part of the things too.
Like, so just play nice. I mean,
seriously.
Spider-Man like pretty much got a standing ovation during Civil War. Just not physically.
Yeah.
And then reception so far for Spider-Man: Homecoming is really good.
Yes.
We'll see, but if it is really good, then don't ruin what you have by just throwing stuff, as many things against the wall, just to see what sticks. It dilutes the universe and just makes everybody sick of Spider-Man properties, which is what we don't want.
Yeah, but that's what DC's doing. That's not the right way to go.
Oh yeah, DC. But at least we have Wonder Woman.
Suicide Squad shade a little bit there. Yeah, Wonder Woman. I love it so much. Have you seen it yet, Ben?
I have not.
Sacrilege. It's
very good.
So good.
I have heard phenomenal things about it. I just haven't had the time to go see.
So transitioning away from Spider-Man stuff and talking a little bit about Justice League, since the DC was brought up, there were rumors circulating that Batgirl was going to have at least a cameo appearance in Justice League, but Joss Whedon, the spoilsport, has come out and said that is not going to happen.
Personally, I'm glad that she's not. I mean, keep the Justice League. That sounds really bad. I'm good. Try to find another way to say this, but I'm not aware of Batgirl ever being a part of the Justice League. Especially as a guest or something like that, but definitely not a core member of the core team. And so I feel once again that just kind of shoehorning her in just to kind of preview one of their next movies would take me out.
That's kind of what they're doing for Cyborg, isn't it? Wasn't he always part of Young Justice?
No, after the New 52, he became a prime member of the Justice League.
Oh,
so that is now, he is now part of the Justice League and has been since 2012 or whenever
I've heard that he's better in Young Justice.
Or you mean Teen Titans?
That, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's 2:00 in the morning. My brain's a little fried.
Oh yeah, Teen Titans is definitely his bread and butter, and that's what.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of kids our age, who grew up with the Teen Titans cartoon, and even there's a Teen Titans Go, that's on the air right now for even younger kids, which he's a part of, and so I could definitely see how people more associate him with the Teen Titans, but right now he's a prominent part in Justice League comics and has been for several years now. So
nice. And
then we're also missing other core members of the Justice League, such as Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter. And so to not include them and then throw in Batgirl would just feel weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know if I really have an opinion. I'm not a huge DC fan in general, but I like the Batman properties, so I'm excited for like the Gotham City Sirens and Batgirl and Nightwing, all that jazz.
Me too. In Joss we trust was my old motto. It's just kind of a 50-50 shot at this point because they did so well with Batman and Ben Affleck playing him, but on the opposite end, they did such a horrible job with the Joker.
Yeah,
and Harley Quinn, in my opinion.
You didn't like Harley, the new Harley?
No.
Huh.
No.
I still haven't seen Suicide Squad, but
well, I'm definitely the minority in that opinion. Most people loved her, but I have a lot of problems with Suicide Squad. So, and I think Harley just caught up in all that. I think for me, it was just the over-sexification of her, I guess, in Suicide Squad. It really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because, I don't know, I guess because I've just been reading the comics, that hasn't really been a big part of her character. She's more of a victim to the Joker rather than anything. Whereas in Suicide Squad, they made them like an actual couple, not just the Joker using and abusing her for his own. Yeah, so yeah, that's so I hope that they do Batgirl and then whatever villains or other Bat Universe characters they included in there. Well, but like I said, it's about a 50-50 shot at this point because they've had some wins and not so much in that universe so far.
Any thoughts, Ben?
I don't know. I don't know too much about from the comics. I just remember growing up watching the cartoons and remember seeing her in like a head-to-toe like unitard, carrying around a giant hammer. Like had like this a jester outfit was the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
But it was never a sexualized thing. So I kind of I see where you're coming with on that point.
Yeah, I mean they put her in booty shorts and had her bend over as many times as possible in the movie.
Right. And that yeah, at least from what I grew up watching, that just doesn't seem to be the same.
What do you think of Batgirl and its potential as a film?
Well, it depends on how dedicated we really are to the comics at that point. Because Batgirl, Robin, and Batman have a pretty messed up relationship, the three of them.
Yeah.
So
if it's just Batgirl and we're not digging too deep, it could be a great film.
Well, as far as we know, at least a Robin has been killed by a Joker so far in this universe. We just assume that from in the Batcave, we see the Robin outfit with like ha 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 or jokes on you, Batman, or something like that on it. So
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So we would assume it's Jason Todd, but who knows at this point. So is it going to be an origin film for Batgirl, or is it going to be, she's already been established and just kind of parted ways with Bruce already? Who knows?
Who knows? I'm excited for the Nightwing movie. I'm more excited about Nightwing than I am for Batgirl, I'll be honest. But he's always been one of my favorite superhero people in general. So
well, we all know you love Dick Grayson.
Funny.
Boo.
Oh, I know. I had to do it. Sorry.
What were you gonna say, Ben?
No, I was just laughing at the comment.
Okay. Well, moving on to anything else.
I thought that was the best comment of the night. So, do I win? Do I win the podcast?
No, you're fired.
You're
gonna get a new host, new co-host. So, do you guys see the Game of Thrones trailer?
OMG!
Not the newest one. And the reason why I do have reasons is because I really want to watch the new season in its full majesty.
I totally understand that. We had a discussion actually about the newest 2 Spider-Man trailers on the podcast weeks back for pretty much identical reasons.
So you were going trailer free.
Well, I can't say that because I've seen one trailer and it was the very, very, very first one they put out.
So the one that showed nothing.
Exactly. And it was at that point I realized I didn't want to watch another trailer until I just wanted to watch the series.
No, I could respect that. That's okay.
I don't need them to advertise it to me. I'm already sold.
Well, it was a good trailer.
I mean, you guys, if you want to talk about it, you can. I won't be offended by mentioning whatever you see in the trailer.
No, it's all good. I'm just super excited. It looks amazing.
What is hype may never die.
It is known.
It is known.
and it has been written.
It has been written. Is that in Game of Thrones?
I don't know.
Winter's is not the only thing that's coming.
Oh man, you're just all over the place with that stuff, aren't you?
Get your mind out of the gutter. I was talking about coming to a theater near me, but a home theater.
It was a little delayed there. You really had to dig deep for that one.
I was gonna say I came up with a better one before you said yours. Home theater thing.
Yeah. Spider-Man 3 is better than Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Shut your mouth. No, I would have said something to the effect, "Oh, there's like the Khaleesi's coming with her dragons across the narrow sea," and blah blah blah.
Spoiler.
Really, is it a spoiler at this point? They've been setting it up for like 5 freaking seasons. She's been sitting there in the desert, dealing with her like housewives of whatever stupid city she's in.
You spoiled the moment for me, Trent. Now I can't. I just know it's going to happen.
It's been 6 seasons, by the way. Not 5.
No, but like since she's like been established and like ready to do stuff with her army / dragons, it's been forever.
That's true. But yeah,
She's gotta go like free all the slaves first.
it's only like 3 weeks away, by the way. So
I know, I'm so excited. And I'm like the next week I'm gone on vacation, so it's really just like 2 weeks away of real life.
because that's how time
Real
works.
life.
That is exactly how time works because I don't have to work for the next week and a half, so that it's gonna go by super quick.
Yeah, there you go.
But then
Indeed.
I'll be back at work, so that'll be sad.
Yeah.
So this next bit, I know that Ben has gotten back into this with me. We're both playing Pokemon Go again.
Oh, you're not playing the Magic Card game with TJ?
Hell no. Although, funny story, a lot of people are reporting that the lower end raids in the new Pokemon stuff are Magikarps.
That's amazing.
Some people are,
Why?
like, showing up to battle Magikarp. I don't know, but it's hilarious. Making it's making all the rage on Twitter.
That's pretty amazing.
Well, Gyarados has a rage attack, so
People
don't.
both roasting and loving the fact that Magikarp it's spawning like fan art and like super Magikarp pictures, and it's
It should.
phenomenal.
It should.
Exactly. It's the thing.
Like, I feel like that was a smart move on them. Be like, we're introducing raiding, and we will release the best raid you'd ever seen, Magikarp.
Magikarp, it will splash.
Exactly.
Flames.
It's like a Magikarp because it's a raid. It's so big that Splash actually causes tsunamis and kills people.
My
like,
favorite
oh,
fan art was during the Twitch Plays Pokemon saga.
It's at
Great
the-
Helix.
Oh yeah, of course. The religion based around the fossil.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And ATVVVVVVV.
Yes,
I'll train Venomoth.
that's right.
Oh gosh.
Oh, so anyway,
Bird Jesus.
Pokemon Go came out with a recent update. The gym system has been revamped. There are raids. Gyms give items and badges now, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. I didn't know that.
And you level up your badge by either attacking said gym if an enemy is in control of it, or reinforcing said gym if your team is in control of it. So it's made gyms a bit more interesting. They seem to change hands more often, which is nice. And you get more of a reward for taking part and for going and actually visiting them. And then I think there was something else that I'm forgetting.
Well, I mean, you get the gym badge from spinning at
Yes.
the token, and it provides rewards. And as you level up the gym badge, you get better rewards for visiting the gym.
Yeah, that was it.
But otherwise, I don't remember when they added new Pokemon, or if this update had any new Pokemon added.
I think they added the Gen 2 stuff back in like April-ish or something. It's been a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I had stopped, just so you know, Ryan, I'd stopped playing like within the first few weeks of it coming out.
Before
like-
before the buddy system was a thing.
Yeah.
So I came in to this again and was just blown away from how much progress they've made on this game. Like, it's a much smoother system than it was originally, and I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did when I first got into it.
You know,
Nice.
I realized the other day that it was so strange to think about.
What's that?
It hasn't even been a year since Pokemon Go came out.
You sure? When did it come out?
July 6, 2016.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at that date the other day because I was downloading the update, and it kind of there's some information on the App Store and whatnot. I was looking at it, and I was like, no way! Like, just the amount of hype that it had, and then like how hard it died afterwards for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like the game is 2 or 3 years old already.
Right? Because I knew it was last summer time, but I just didn't realize it was July. Like in my brain, I was thinking it was May. But
Yeah. Because I remember really getting into it like July, August of last year.
yeah, I remember I was really excited because I went to California in July for Comic-Con and
Nice.
such. And so I was like, yay, all these water Pokemon by the beach. Because I live in a desert where there's no water Pokemon.
Not even at the Great Salt Lake.
Nah, no one goes there. It is a silly place.
Not even the Pokemon.
Fucking around like, screw that place.
It is a city place. Although saltwater, not the worst thing to swim in a saltwater pool out of an apartment complex one time is very cool.
Well,
Nice.
don't swim in the Salt Lake.
I know. They used to though. It's interesting. There's pictures like people used to actually go there, like kind of like treat it like a beach. It's weird. Yeah. Anyway.
People also used to think that smoking was healthy for you.
Yes. Yes. There's lots of things that people
Wait.
do that are now stupid.
It does, though. It relieves stress.
Oh boy. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. You think you're gonna get back into it at all, Ryan?
Probably not, if I'm going to be honest. I could say like, oh, I might check it out because yeah, a few of these things do kind of like interest me, or like, hey, that's pretty cool. But I just don't see myself committing the time and or energy. Even though I walk a mile or two a day, but I just don't see myself bringing up the app and everything.
That's my thing. That's still something I really wish they'd be able to get better at, is being able to, as long as you have the GPS location on, being able to have the program running in the background to track your movement. That needs to be big, because I carry my phone with me and I'm on my feet all day between 2 different jobs, and I only got in like 0.3 kilometers of walking because that was the only amount of time I was actually in the game.
Yeah.
Not actually walking.
Well, so that's because they want you to buy extra hardware. They want you to buy the Poke Tracker. So pay $30 or whatever for that.
Is that what that is? I didn't.
Yeah, there's a little thing you can buy that
Jeez.
you press and it catches Pokemon for you, or something. There's actually a really good. A friend of mine has an Apple Watch, and there's a really good Apple Watch app for Pokemon Go.
Nice.
But Niantic has, like, they were originally talking about bringing it to Android Wear as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just stopped talking about it.
Surprise, surprise.
6 months ago, and I'm like, what the really?
But
So
Pokemon trading, Pokemon trainer battles, and from what I've heard, Pokemon breeding may become a thing.
Oh yeah.
wait,
Since it has in the past.
Can you do trading and?
Not yet.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think that's a thing.
Not yet. Those are like the 3 big things that like are being talked about to come out in the near future.
Nice. I know they've also announced
because
other items like rare candies and stuff like that.
Yep. But they started attaching genders to Pokemon, and so that's why there's hints at Pokemon breeding going on, or going to happen.
I thought they had gender at launch.
Yeah, they did.
Probably with like the Nido.
That's not all.
Nido King, but oh.
Oh,
I don't remember, to be honest.
I
But
do
all
remember.
I do know is that now they have rare candies. I'm gonna put it in a certain slot in my backpack, and then we're gonna go to the town right next to my hometown. I'm gonna talk to the old man. He's gonna show me how to catch a Pokemon, and then I'm gonna immediately fly down to Cinnabar Island, walk along the coast, up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's a cheat code, but you can use it in the real world. And Missing No will appear and grant you infinite rare candies.
Oh yes.
I think it'd be really funny if they like did throw in like Missing No as like a raid boss or something, just like on April Fool's Day or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be really funny.
And every time you fight him right before you win, your game closes.
But when you log back in, one of your items has been like you duplicated or times 100 or whatever.
Right.
If you catch him, it erases your whole phone, not just your Pokemon game.
God.
Oh,
Factory
God.
restore. Oh God. That's a virus, and that's probably illegal.
F that noise. Well, if you agree to it, you can make it. I mean, we have apps like that
That's
for
true.
work, but
Still.
that's funny. Yeah, it's really funny. They actually had to explain this to somebody new the other day. It was like, yeah, I want to get the email, work email on my phone. I was like, okay, you know that you have to make this program an admin on your phone. I was like, well, what does that mean? It's like, it means that I have the power to wipe your phone. It's like, really? Yep, that's how this works, because you will have county data on it, and that could be potentially bad. So if you lose your phone, you gotta be able to remote wipe it. It's like, well, I don't know if I like that. I was like, yeah, well,
Then don't get it on your phone.
exactly.
And then you use strength and then try to push over a truck to find a Mew.
Goodness.
Oh man,
I love me some Pokemon Red and Blue.
Oh yes.
I do. Have you have a 3DS, right? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you downloaded the Fire Red or
No.
Whatever Blue?
Leaf Green?
Sure. What?
No, I have not.
They didn't remake Blue?
Nope.
That's a shame.
When Pokemon first came out in Japan, they had red, blue, and green over there. You know, obviously for Venusaur. And when they did the remake for GBA, they only did Fire Red and Leaf Green because they're silly.
I disapprove. Although I guess the names are better. I mean, like Water Blue,
I'd get Water Blue.
Aqua Blue, Liquid Blue. They're all bad. Fire Red is really cool, and Leaf Green is good enough, I guess.
Leaf Green is silly when you think about it.
I need to go back and finish. I've been sitting on
Baby
Pokemon.
Blue. There you go.
This has a baby Bulbasaur on the cover with a rattle and a binky.
Except that Gen 1 doesn't have breeding, so there's no
It's true.
babies.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
You could only clone them by trading with a friend and then turning off your Game Boy at just the right moment. That's the only way that new Pokemon were created. There was no breeding.
You're just pulling out all the stops for the weird, like,
Tricks.
90s references and stuff. So
I was hardcore Red and Blue and Gold and Silver, like all the way.
Oh yeah, I leveled a Mewtwo to level 100 against the final 4 over and over again.
I used rare candies and then just fought the final 4 over and over again to get the EVs up to where I wanted them to be, which is the same as leveling up to 100 manually, but doesn't take nearly as long.
I am an underachiever compared to you two.
I obviously just have better dedication than you.
That's okay.
I did it the real way.
The real way.
I went to my local bookstore and played in tournaments like every Saturday.
I did not do that.
I took it on a road trip once.
We used to battle each other in our scout troop when I was a kid.
Mm.
And nobody would let me use my Mewtwo because it would just kill everything.
As it should be.
Noobs.
I know, right? It's like, it's not my fault that my Mewtwo's amazing and he has Recover, so even if you do damage to him, he just heals it up.
I had a Mew that had Lock On and Horn Drill. Horn Drill was a insta-kill attack, but only had, I think, a 10% hit rate. But then Lock On basically guaranteed your next attack was a hit.
So you had a guaranteed 1-2 punch.
As long as it didn't switch. If they switched, it would, throw it off. But
Right. Just keep locking it on until they stop switching.
Yep. Or I used it on their last Pokemon. There's nothing they could do.
There you go.
They usually say their strongest for last, like a Mewtwo or something. Then I'd be like, Pop, Mew. Be like, you're dead.
Uh,
So any other Pokemon news you want to bring up?
No, I think that's at least it for now. With that big update, it was really about the gyms and rating.
yeah.
See, I didn't play any Pokemon. I did play Ruby and Sapphire very briefly, but I didn't really like it very much. So I kind of stopped playing Pokemon until X and Y came out. And then I played that, really enjoyed it, but then I didn't play Sun and Moon. But the moment that Switch one comes out, I'll be all over that.
Last Pokemon game I played was Yellow.
Wow.
Old school.
Oh, yeah.
That is very old school.
I have not played any Pokemon since.
I really liked X and Y. Sun so far has been kind of hard for me to get through.
X and Y brought me back in because it seemed to focus a lot back on Gen 1 again.
Yeah. Well,
Which
if
I'm happy.
you liked that, I mean, the Gen 1 focus isn't as big, but the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire or something, maybe reverse those. Yeah, Omega Ruby, because that's the one I have. It is visually and engine-wise like exactly the same as X and Y. And then, so like it's just a really, really good update.
Well, I'm just worried about that one because it was Ruby and Sapphire that tore me away from Pokemon because I didn't like it. So I didn't want to play the 3D version of that.
Maybe you'll like it better now that you like Pokemon again.
So much water.
All the water. I mean, they're going to drown the world.
So much water.
That is their big epic plan.
7 out of 10, too much water.
Team Aqua is their plan. Team Magma, they want to erupt the world and create more land.
What happened to Team Rocket and Giovanni? That was a plot that was being established in Gen 1 and Gen 2. And then just didn't go anywhere.
It's different region altogether. Whereas the first two gens, Kanto and Johto, are neighbors.
Yeah. But they should have continued the story. You'd think that,
They
Team Rocket would have a global presence.
They're like the mob. They're local.
Yeah, I was going to say, they were the Mafia. Giovanni was the leader.
Didn't he renounce his ways when you beat his gym?
I don't remember.
Not really. Kind of.
It's been a long time since I played Red or Blue, so I really have no recollection.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the teams have been cool. The X and Y team was weird, but kind of cool. The ones in
Team Rocket for life.
Was it Team Flare? I think something like that. Yeah, I love Team Rocket also. The new ones. Have you played Sun or Moon?
No.
The new Skull Kids or whatever they're incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
It literally takes me out every time they talk. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. This is the dumbest thing ever. Like, please just continue. Let me fight you already.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Rocket team.
Hashtag Team Rocket forever. Team Rocket best rocket. Or
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
That's right. So moving away from Pokemon news and discussion, a really interesting snippet of an interview with Colin Trevorrow ended up on Screen Rant about earlier today, and talks about they asked him about how they're going to handle Carrie Fisher's death and how it is impacting episode 9. And I thought I'd just read the quote real quick if that's cool with you guys.
Very cool with me.
So he says, he's speaking with the Irish Examiner, which seems like a cool British newspaper or news organization.
Seems like a bad name for a doctor.
Like an OBGYN?
Yeah.
The Irish Examiner. Anyway, he said, she had a major role in the film, and it's something we had to deal with emotionally at first. Now we've had to deal with it in a very practical way, and in a form of storytelling we know it's going to and in a form of storytelling we know is going to honor her and keep her soul alive. But it is an unfortunate reality that we're just going to have to handle. It's been tough emotionally and logistically. We'll figure that part out. But she was very important to the Star Wars family, and that was the hardest part. So we definitely know for sure that she was supposed to have a very big part in Episode 9. People are saying that thematically, 7 was going to be Han's movie, 8 is Luke's movie, and then 9 was going to be her movie to kind of shine as one of the original people. It just makes me sad.
It does. But I still don't doubt it'll be a fantastic film.
Right. I'm hoping that they're gonna figure out a way to honor her and deal with the character's loss. I don't know if she's still gonna be alive and just off screen, or if she's gonna die off screen and the people are gonna have to like remember her and like pay tribute, rah rah, let's finish it for the general.
Like Star Trek did.
Kind of, yeah. Like we talking about with Spock's death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I thought they did. That worked really well. Granted, Spock wasn't as big of a part of the Star Trek reboot. I mean, he was a big part of the first one, and then the second one they had him for like one like important scene,
Yeah.
and then he dies off screen between 2 and 3, and they use that to kind of further new Spock's storyline in the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see like Finn and Poe like being like informed of her death or something at the beginning, and then like they either dedicate their final battle to her in some way or use it to honor her memory somehow, like win one for the Gipper type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Speaking of Carrie Fisher stuff, it's just kind of random side note for me. I actually read or listened to on Audible The Princess Diarist and Wishful Drinking.
Oh yeah.
Two of her novels, but memoirs, I guess, kind of. Incredible. She is so, and part of my language, goddamn funny. Her life is just crazy. Just how what like her childhood and like because of her parents and everything that she went through. It's very fascinating stuff. Definitely not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Some of the stories she tells are kind of crazy, but
I listened to 3 different Star Wars podcasts, and around the time of her death, they all like read snippets of it on the podcast or their favorite moments from it. So I enjoyed that part of it that I got to see or read here.
But I mean, she is so funny. There were parts that just had me in stitches. And then I would go from crying to like, or from like laughing to crying and back again, and it's just. So if you want a little bit more Carrie Fisher in your life, I highly recommend the audiobook versions of her, the first 2 that I've read so far, and because she narrates them obviously, and she does just a phenomenal job. So
I need to watch that HBO documentary as well.
Me too. I keep meaning to do that. I need to sign up for the HBO Now stuff.
Just do it right before Game of Thrones.
Heck yeah. That's pretty much what I was gonna do. I think I'm gonna sign up for HBO Now, watch Game of Thrones as it happens, and then also at the same time watch The Leftovers and the Carrie Fisher documentary.
There you go.
Kind of just do a big HBO binge this summer.
Well, I'll be starting The Leftovers soon, so hopefully we'll be able to chat about it.
Any thoughts on all this, Ben? You've been very quiet.
That's because I really don't have much thought about it.
Well, fine.
I'm sorry. I enjoy Carrie Fisher. I just am not a diehard fan like you.
Apparently not.
Shame on you.
I know, right?
Apparently. I mean, it's like
Shame.
It's like when you've been inside all day and you step outside and you know the sun's out there, but you just really don't know that it's that bright. It's like me, like, and my desire or the way I like Carrie Fisher. I'm like, yeah, I like Carrie Fisher. And then I step into the light that is Trent as he talks about Carrie Fisher. I'm like, oh, God, it's so bright. I knew it was bright, but it's like really, really bright.
That's a pretty good analogy on all levels.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that. She is one of my favorite people. Cool. So let's go ahead and transition into what we are playing and watching at the moment.
Well, we have one big final topic to talk about. Probably the biggest piece of news from the past few days.
What did I miss?
That is, of course, the new director for the Han Solo movie.
Oh, yeah, freak. That was our top thing, and we skipped right over it because of Spider-Man. Yeah, so the directors, plural, of Han Solo's the Han Solo anthology film jumped ship or were fired, depending on who you ask.
It seems to be more in the fired column.
You think so?
Oh yeah,
Huh. That's
based on all accounts.
I can't wait till all the news on this like fully drops. It's
Yeah.
gonna be really good read. And Ron Howard has been selected rather quickly, in my opinion, as the replacement.
You say quickly, but I'm sure once they kind of knew they were going to fire Lord and Miller, that they kind of started
Yeah, well, it's in the
putting
middle
feelers out.
It's in the middle of production, and they have a 2018 release date, so they're going to be like, "Get this done."
Yeah.
So yeah, I was. I mean, I didn't have a huge positive or negative reaction to it. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, I recognize the name. He's done things. He's not a nobody director. You were a little bit less than enthused.
Well, yeah, we've said before on the podcast that Han Solo is our biggest, like, are you sure? And Star Wars thing that has come out since the Disney acquisition. I think you would agree that, a young Han Solo movie isn't really something that we need. And there's, in my opinion, potentially a lot more interesting Star Wars stories to tell.
Yeah.
And then that's not even considering the Pandora's box you're opening by recasting one of the original trilogy members.
True.
One who just played his character just 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Well, and two of them actually, because they're recasting Lando as well.
Yeah, true. Though I am happy with that casting choice. But and so I was already just nervous about the movie, and like I just didn't know what we were going to get out of it. Is Han going to start off like a hero and then become jaded like we see him? Because he's definitely not a hero until the very end of episode 4. He is a scoundrel. And so for me, in order to create an interesting character arc, what direction is he going to take? And there's all these problems that I had, or questions that I guess I need answering when I'm going to see the movie. But I also gave it a lot of credit because I really love Lord and Miller. Every movie of theirs I've seen, I have significantly loved, and walked out of the theater, much happier than I walked into the movie theater. I would walk into a movie theater for all the movies, either just like, okay, I guess we're seeing this, or just kind of skeptical, or like, oh, I've heard this is kind of good. And then just walked out with my mind blown and almost in tears from laughter every single time.
Can you name some of those that you?
The 2 Jump Street movies, both of them are up there, as well as the Lego movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just some off the top of my head. So I was immediately a little bit more on board when I learned that they were directing it.
They also do like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine TV show.
I didn't know that.
And Last Man on Earth.
Nah.
So, if the rumors are to be believed, is that they tried, I guess, to use their comedic talent and to bring a little bit more improv to the set, which the main writer of Star Wars didn't really appreciate. And so that is where the creative differences started rearing their faces. And so that's kind of just where we got to it. So now we have Ron Howard, which I would say I'm pretty neutral on, but only because he's made some really great movies, but some also really bad movies too.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, Lord and Miller were batting 100 for me. Or I don't know if that's the right phrase, but they were 100%. Everything I've seen of them, I have loved.
I was looking at his list of things he's directed, and I can't say I've seen any of them.
Really?
I mean, there's things like A Beautiful Mind, obviously. Which one it's movie.
Apollo 13, Da Vinci Code, Willow.
Well, I was looking at the, I think the list of things he directed on his own.
I think Willow was just him.
Yeah.
Was it on the list?
And who could forget How the Grinch Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey?
Eh. I mean, I like both the Da Vinci Code movies, and those are both his. I think Willow is a fun, surprisingly good kind of adventure movie. As to the story of what they could be focusing on, the obvious choice for me is to explore how Chewbacca ends up so loyal to this scoundrel.
Yeah.
Because we know that Chewbacca's not stupid, and he's very honorable. So, like, how that happens is very interesting to me.
Ditto.
And I'm also kind of curious, just like based on some of the stuff. Like, I always thought, because you said that like he kind of isn't the hero until the end of Episode 4, and I've always kind of viewed that he was the hero the whole time. The rest of it was just bravado, and he was just like he wants to be a scoundrel more than he really is. Like he always has the heart of gold type thing.
See, I don't know, because he had to be drugged pretty much the whole way. He way overcharged for his flight, and even when he was on and Luke was practicing, he's kind of just making fun of his religious beliefs, and then they get on the Death Star and they make it to that room and he's like, I'm not going out with the princess, I'm staying right here. And Luke had to bribe him basically with money.
Well, I mean, but he's a survivor, and I mean, he's desperate. In terms of overcharging, I mean, he owes one of the biggest crime lords in the galaxy a lot of money.
I think his line "better her than me" kind of gives a lot of insight into his character, at least at that moment.
That's true. I mean, he definitely is selfish. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
But that could always change. We saw how Rogue One changed what we knew, quote unquote, knew about the events of A New Hope.
True. I mean, he has to have done something good enough that Chewbacca wants to hang around with him.
It could be he inadvertently saves his life, and Chewie owes him a life debt. And
true.
I think of KOTOR, where if you choose the dark side ending, you have your Wookiee sidekick who has a life debt to you, and you basically order that Wookiee to kill his best friend, and he does because of his life debt.
Wow.
Did you guys ever see that or do that?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, if you choose dark side, at that moment in the game, like half your party members kind of turn on you. Karth runs away. The two Jedi, I forget their names, the black guy and the cat lady, they just attack you and you end up just killing them. And then the Twi'lek girl, who's best friend with the Wookiee, she's like, no, I'm not having any part of this. And one of the dark side choices is you ordering him to kill her. And he does so because of his life debt to you.
It's pretty dark. Well, yeah. It's an interesting thing is that technically, unless they've covered it in the Clone Wars, which I don't think they have, the Wookiee life debt isn't canon at the moment, is it?
It is, because it's part of the Aftermath trilogy. The second book is actually called Life Debt.
Ah, well, there you go. That's one of the ones I haven't read yet. I stand corrected.
That's okay.
Actually, I sit corrected because I'm not standing.
Well, you better stand up so you could feel properly corrected.
No. But anyway, back to the whole Ron Howard thing. I'm hesitantly optimistic. I mean, we know he can make a good movie. And I
ultimately agree, because even if I don't, I just trust Lucasfilm at this point. They've earned that based on what they've done with the property so far since purchased by Disney.
I mean, the director who did Rogue One, who I'm currently blanking on, it's not Rian Johnson. He was Episode 8.
Gareth Edwards.
He does not have a great track record in Hollywood, but Rogue One turned out pretty well.
Godzilla.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was just okay.
But anywho, we'll see what happens. I'm also a little worried. This is probably the one I'm the most worried about. Now, anyway.
Ditto.
It was Wonder Woman, and now I'm worried about this one because I feel comfortable about Episode 8.
Yeah, Episode 8 is almost guaranteed to be great
so far. Yeah, and it's like that little interaction we had with Ryan Johnson at the celebration. Just like you had just like he just seems like such a genuinely like Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Just kind of like he has the same vibe that J.J. Abrams had when we met him.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good.
And again, Ozymandias, the third to last episode of Breaking Bad, is one of the best pieces of video I've seen in my entire life, and it was directed by him. So
Nice. Very cool. All right, so shall we talk about what we're playing and watching right now?
sure. Why don't you go first, Ben?
Let's see. Playing right now would be Final Fantasy 14. New expansion just came out called Stormblood. To give you a brief rundown of the story of Final Fantasy 14 in general.
Well, this is brief nerdy, so go right ahead.
All right. Well, and never mind. Essentially, you're chosen. Well, if you know the Final Fantasy series in general, originally it had to deal with crystals. The white crystal calls forth a champion of light, which is the player. And in Final Fantasy 14, similar thing happens, except there are multiple people. It's an MMO, so it calls forth multiple warriors of light. But there are a few NPCs as well who are influenced by the crystal. These people form an organization to protect and defend the world. And in doing so, they sit as an aspect of neutrality. At least that's what they tell themselves. And so they arrive at political affairs to basically give their 2 cents and just kind of watch how the world unfolds. Just kind of behind the scenes poking where they feel they need to maintain balance. And you're part of this group. And as you go on, there's these primal beings being summoned, be it like summons like Shiva, Ifrit, Titan, Ramu, Bahamut. Actually, Bahamut caused what they call reference before you start in the game as what was called the Calamity.
Yeah.
Very, very bad instance. And so these primals are popping up and they're being summoned due to the faith of certain races that are summoning them to take vengeance upon whatever. And you find out there are forces behind those people pushing to do that, to cause chaos. So this is going on. There's a country split among 3 factions that are in an alliance, and a neighboring country that is being ruled with an iron fist by the Garlean Empire. And they're constantly kind of head-to-head, and they're at a stalemate right now. And this new expansion focuses on the liberation and resistance of one of the territories taken over by the Empire, while also you're basically starting a war on 2 fronts against the Empire. You have one area that's close to home that's been enslaved by the Empire for some time, that's finally being freed. And at the same time, you have a foreign country that had tried to rebel at one point and was crushed with no sight for hope or redemption. And so you're fueling one fire and starting another at a different spot and trying to set the Empire off balance.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot going on, and you play a very critical role. I've really been enjoying the story. Like, it's got some really good classic MMO parts to it that make it a really good game in general. But the story has always been something that has driven me in the game.
Nice. I remember I played a ton of Final Fantasy 11 back in the day, and I say a ton this year. It was a ton for me, which was a few months of an MMO.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it. But then I played 14 back when it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, did you know the whole story, Trent?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd never bothered to get back into it when it had its relaunch, but it's glad to hear that that you're liking it and enjoying it, especially the story. I love myself a good story in an MMO.
Well, I think it's funny because that whole Realm Reborn, I think it focuses on the fact that the first one failed, which is why Bahamut showed up and the calamity happened, causing them to
That's
kind
awesome.
of restart the game. So they don't discredit the entirety of it. They also hint at multiple. There's also the possibility that the previous game was of a different parallel universe. And they actually do hint at that as well, and there are strong connections to that. So
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Trent, what you been playing?
I've been getting back into Guild Wars 2 again, and playing some Stellaris again, because apparently I can't help but repeat all my games over and over again. But yeah, that's pretty much just those two. I've been watching a lot of TV lately and less video games. And on that front, I guess we'll go and finish games first. What have you been playing?
I've played absolutely nothing since the last podcast. Not a thing. So
That sounds incredibly boring.
no, I've had plans almost every night this week. So
Nice.
somebody's popular.
yeah. And the only thing I've watched too, if you don't mind me just going on that, was I just finished the final 2 episodes of Mr. Robot of season 2. I mean, the show's still going, but I'm now officially caught up. So
Nice.
the last 2 episodes weren't quite as good, I guess, as the few before it, but I still enjoy the show. Still looking forward to season 3. So
Nice. What have you been watching, Ben?
Not a whole lot. I basically spend any little free time I have playing Final Fantasy. With the 2 jobs I have, it just doesn't leave a whole lot of room for doing both.
Fair enough. Let's see. I myself have been watching RuPaul's Drag Race finished tonight, actually. And I made the mistake of refreshing my Facebook feed while it was on, and I've been spoiled as to who the winner is already. So that was frustrating.
that sucks.
Yeah. I gotta unfollow that show's Facebook page next season because they have no chill whatsoever, and like they react to things the minute they happen and post it all over the social media stuff. And so it's like some shows will at least wait a day or two before they start like their big spoiler, or they'll like hint at something and be like, click through to see the full story or whatever. But no, they're just like, congratulations, so and so is the new blah blah blah, and I'm like,
Yeah, I hate that. So dumb.
yeah, I know. It's like great, so I'm just gonna watch an hour already knowing how it ends. Anyway, Big Brother 19 is coming up, starts on the 28th, which is really exciting. I've been watching the CW Arrowverse. I'm got a few more under my belt since Monday, and yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm excited for Big Brother. The cast looks interesting.
You look interesting.
Oh, well, thank you. So I think that will about wrap us up. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to chat about?
No, I'm good, my friend.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me out to kind of join you guys in your rant.
No problem.
Woo!
A little bit last minute.
Spider-Man, Star Wars, Batgirl, Venom.
Venom, Carnage. So once again, as always, reach out to us at social media, email, Facebook, Twitter. Leave a comment.
Media.
Give us a rating over on iTunes and a comment. We would love it.
iTunes.
All of these things. Apparently, Ryan gets a little slap happy at 3:00 in the morning.
Baby.
Say where you want people to come check us out, not scare them away, Ryan.
iTunes.
Social media.
I'm creating ambience.
Right, that's what it is.
Yep.
But anyway, thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Nerdity podcast. We will see you guys next Monday.
TTFN. Ta-ta for now.